Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Ormark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we are going to look at the stamp set Let It Ride, which are these lovely line drawings of horses with some beautiful sentiments, and there's some trees as well in there. And we're looking at this horse at the moment here, which is the one which is galloping along. And we're going to team it up with High Tide, which is from the annual catalogue. And we're going to take the water because we want the horse to be running through the water. And we're going to take some seagulls and possibly a bit of sky or a bit of sunshine or something. So we'll have a look and see what sort of develops. So first of all, we're going to take a piece of thick Whisper White cardstock, which measures 5 1/4 inches by 3 1/2 inches. And I have cut out just with a piece of scrap paper. I've done it in a coloured copy paper so you can see it more clearly, but you want something that's fairly thin for stamping over, just a mask for the horse. Because we want the mask for the horse. And what we are going to do to start off with is we are going to stamp the horse running across the water. So I've put that on a block already, and what we need to do is we need to mask off the grass at the bottom. Very easy to do. Just use some retired washi tape and you're just going to put that across the bottom. So we'll have a little piece coming off like that, and we'll just have another little piece to make sure that that's not coming on. So you can actually mask off any part you want. If you don't want, because I want the horse running through the waves, so I don't need the grassy bit on the bottom. So if you mask it off first of all, then take a good black ink and we are going to just ink up the whole of the stamp. And then we peel off, and you have to remember to do this, otherwise you'll have a black sploddy mark, but peel off the washi tape, so that then you know that the grass has not been covered at all. So let me just get rid of this tiny little bit because we don't want that. Make sure I haven't got bits on my fingers. And we are going to put the horse running through on the water. Just like that. So hold it just down for a few seconds to let the ink absorb because it's quite a large image stamp. Pick it up and we have this beautiful horse running through the waves on here. Now we're going to do a few sentiments. So let me just give this one a bit of a quick clean in my Simply Chamois. There we go, and then I can put that back in the case. And we are going to use, let me think, I think we're just going to have Let It Ride, because I think that's quite nice on there. Do I want to have, in fact I'm going to, yeah, I think I'm just going to have Let It Ride on here. Now I'm going to put it on this block like this. I can put it on a smaller block, but these are the ones that I've got out at the moment. So let's just make sure that that's reasonably level. There we go. So get that reasonably level. And I want this to be up in the top. I really love some of the new stamp sets because the fonts are absolutely beautiful. They're as if they're handwritten, which works perfectly with a hand-drawn sketch. So that's got Let It Ride on there. Okay, so now we need to make the horse run through the water. So let me just put this one back here, and we are then going to get out the High Tide. And the high tide, as you know, has got the lighthouses and things like that in. But I just want this lovely little water image down the bottom. So let me get this one out. And this one is a photopolymer one. So I'm just getting that stamp out there. Crackly noises as I take it out of the photopolymer. And we can put that back on here. And this one we want, will that fit in on here? Probably the next block up. Let's pop it on this one and see what this does. Yeah, that's better, isn't it? So we'll put it up this way. Now on this stamp there is a sort of a top and a bottom. If you look at the you want the line, I think, going up that way. Let me have a look. No, it's more that way. Okay, so we're going to have it this way so that the more solid line is at the bottom. And we're going to do it in a we're going to do it in Pool Party to start off with, and because that's a fairly light colour. So let's just ink that up, and this is where we need the mask. So we're just going to put the mask down on the bottom over the horse's hooves. So let me just wiggle that into place like that. And then I'm going to take the first one straight through there so I don't have to worry about that going through. So we're just going to take that straight through, then I can hold the mask on top, and we've then got the waves coming through, and then we can line it up this side and pop it through that way, and line it up this way and just pop it through on there like that. Okay, and I'm then going to, because I fancy having that in sort of two tones of colour, I'm going to take, what colour shall I take now? I think I'm going to take the Pacific Point, which is a very bluey blue, and I'm going to stamp it off. So let's take the Pacific Point, and I'm going to stamp it off once because I don't want it too sharp. So let's stamp it off once, and then we can take it through, and I'm just offsetting it a little bit from where I was so that it doesn't come exactly on the same lines. Oh, that's nice, yes. So ink it up, stamp it off once, and then we're going to do the next one through on where the horse was, or where the hooves are, and then we'll take the next one off and do it through on here. So we have our horse galloping through. So when we take the mask off, you can see that it then hasn't, the horse is actually over the top of it rather than too much into the water, because you want the horse sort of riding its way through rather than its feet being completely covered in the wave part. Okay, so let me just clean that off a bit. And then I want to put some the birds in the sky. So the birds are going to be in, let's just put this one back and I can get some birds out. So we'll have the birds just flying through on the top, which gives it a lovely sort of seaside image. Let's pop these ones down in like that. Again, I need a longer, in fact I'm going to get another block out. I've got all my blocks here, so rather than struggling on the wrong size block, let's get this one, which is a long thin one, which will fit these ones perfectly. So we have on this, just put my case back, this is the H block, and the birds will then fit quite nicely across on here and will fit in perfectly like that, because we only want one row of birds, and I'm going to do those in the black. So let's pop those up over the top. Now we've got to work out where we're going to put these so that they don't in fact I might do them just coming off like, do I want them up like that? Yeah, just over the top of where the horse is. So some of them are actually going to be coming off, but we'll just put them in like that. That's nice. So you've got the birds over the top where the horse is. And then we can put, what can we put round that? Do I want the sun shining? I could put the sun, couldn't I? Let me have a look, because that's quite a nice sun. So this sun again is a nice image that you can stamp on and stamp off. So I'm just going to try it and see. Do I want the sun low? Do I want the sun high? We could have the sun low, couldn't we, in the sky, with the seagulls coming in. Or do I put it up? Yeah, I think I'm going to have it low and just see. So we need a yellow for this one. So I'm going to use Daffodil Delight, I think, for this one. And then we can just put this in this way. So let me just ink that up. And again, I'm going to stamp off with this one because I don't want it too bright. So stamp it off, and then we'll have it just underneath so it's quite pale in the sky like that. There we are, that's quite nice. So I didn't want it too bright on there. Then we need to colour in the horse. So I'm using our aqua painter, and I'm going to colour it in crumb cake and soft suede, I think. So let's take the crumb cake, and I'm just going to take it up from the well of this one because I've got quite a bit in the well here. So the aqua painter is absolutely brilliant for doing this because you can just do it. In fact, I'm going to show you how to do it. Let's take this little one off of here, put that out of the way. If you take, because with the new stamp pads there isn't a lot to be able to ink from, so if you just tap a block and take some colour at the side, you can then actually just take the colour up from there and be able to colour it through from there. So I'm just literally colouring down the whole of the horse to his little ears like this. Bring it down round his face like this. Such a beautiful horse. So I'm just literally going all the way round with the aqua painter, and then coming down on the body. As I've said before, I really love watercolouring, but I'm no expert. I enjoy it, and I think with everything, particularly with doing your cards, as I've always said, it's all about the enjoyment. And the more you do something, the better you get, and that's really my philosophy for my watercolouring. I tend to practice by doing lots of cards, and some of them turn out really well and some of them don't turn out quite as well. So it's one of those things, you just have to sort of work at it and see how it goes. But with the aqua painter and the way our stamps are designed, they're quite forgiving. You don't have to, you can literally do exactly what I'm doing here, which is just putting a bit of a wash on and not focusing too much on my lights and my darks and things like that. I'm literally just laying down the colour as I go and just sort of building it up so that you have the bits of colour in where you want, and you're not worried too much about the lights and the darks in there. As I say, some of you out there are really great watercolourers, and you know, your artwork is superb, but for the people that are beginners like me, you don't have to be a real expert. Now on the tail, because it sort of just whooshes up and it's a watercolour, I'm literally just taking just some colour out on here like that. Okay, so that's the crumb cake, and I'm going to take a little bit of the soft suede, And I'm just going to take the other side of that block and just take a little bit of the soft suede on here, because we don't need a lot, and I will just add a little bit of some light sort of shadow bits down in here a little bit, and just down on this little piece down on here to just add a little bit of shadow down on the back leg down here. You can work out sometimes where there are cross-hatch sort of lines where you would get a little bit of sort of the dark coming through, so you can sort of just pick it up here and there without being too much of an expert on it. So where you've got your lines, you can just sort of bring it through like that. And I'm going to make his hooves just a little bit darker, so there's a little bit of contrast on the hooves at the bottom, which is just coming on there. Okay, so I think that'll do for that one. And now we want, because you've got quite sort of a white sky at the back, I'm going to take the mask again, and I'm going to put the mask over the top, just like that. And then I am just going to take, I'm going to take a sponge for this, I think. Let me just make sure that I've got blues rather than any other colour on this. I think it's mainly blue. And I just want to take, where's the, did I put that one back? Yes, I did. I want the pool party for this one. So let's just get a little bit of pool party, and we're just going to take through to add some colour to the sky. So I'm going to first of all just go around my edges, because I want the edges to come through. So, because then you've got something to sort of work with. So we'll take our edges and just bring those through. And we can take that down through on the bottom as well. If you just sponge your edges sometimes, it gives a less stark white edge. And there's sort of two ways of thinking. Some people like doing it, some people don't. I think when you're colouring in the whole of your background, it's quite nice to have the outside sort of sponge through, because it gives you something to work with. So I'm just going to take the mask. I'm going to take the mask at the top to start off with, because I don't want it to, and I'm just doing some quite sort of light brush strokes across, or sponge strokes across, rather than sponging it too heavily. I just want to take the cardstock from being very stark and white and just take it through to have a bit of blue on there. So that's that side. I'm going to turn it round the other way, and again just reposition my mask. You can use some low tack if you want to, but using copy paper, it's fairly easy to just hold it in place, because you're only going to sponge it quite lightly through, just around the edges, because you just don't want the horse that you've coloured to be too, or to get the blue on it. Doesn't matter if it goes over the water, because you've then got that horizon line coming through. And as I say, by doing just sweeping strokes, I've found that you get less of a blobby bits coming through. So it just works a little better like that. And then I'm just going to take at the bottom, I'm going to take the mask off, and I'm just going to just sponge through a little bit onto the water. And then where the hooves are, I'm just going to take that through lightly, so it makes it as if it's in the bottom. So there we have, that's all I'm doing on that. But it gives you, let's put these inks out of the way, it gives you a lovely sort of watercoloured background, and then I would mount this on just a card base with some blue to pick it up in. And this is the Pacific Point. So let me just take these bits out of the way so we haven't got our splodgy bits so you can see clearer. But there we are. We've got the horse sort of riding through the waves with Let It Ride and the seagulls at the top. I probably could have brought the seagulls down a little bit more because I've got them sort of flying off, but I don't think that matters too much. But a very sort of simple card, doing some colouring, but makes it look absolutely beautiful. So thank you so much for watching me, and do look forward to seeing you again. Bye-bye.